Ivanu,
La'asot
Divrei Torah.
Okay. I'd like to remind people, and it really is important because we have a really incredible group here. And I'd like to remind people that I would prefer if you use the electronic hand raising than if you would simply speak up. That way I can make certain that no one dominates and everyone has a chance to speak. The only exception may be Tamara, who will point out to me, you're not seeing this hand up. And I unfortunately need that help periodically. So that'll be the exception. But other than that, folks, please, actually, I had a couple of notes of complaint about that. Please just raise your electronic hand and we will continue that way. I could not go forward. I could not go forward without spending a moment on the tragedy in Texas. And what I would like to do, by posting Thursday evening, Friday morning, I read an Israeli poem that I adapted to the circumstance. And I was, I guess, surprised at the number of people who responded to that and wanted copies of it. I want to specify that the poem is entitled Ma Avarech Lo B'Ma Yivarach. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful poem written in 1967 in memory of a young man who fell in the 67 war. It then was set to music independently. And it has become a song in Israel. When I read the words, I hear the melody. It's just that frequent. It is a very powerful melody carrying a very powerful poem. I adapted the poem to today's circumstance. Okay, so I don't want any claim that I wrote the original, though if you want to believe that, I'll accept it. But this is the poem I read Thursday evening. I share with you again. Ma varech lo b'ma yivorach, zeh hayeled sha'al hamalach. What shall I bless them? How should they be blessed, these children? Asked the angel. What shall I bless them? How shall they be blessed, these children? Asked the angel. And he blessed them with a smile like light, and he blessed them with eyes big and seeing, to capture every flower and everything living and every bird, and with a heart to feel all these sights. And he blessed them with legs to dance to eternity, and a soul to remember all the compositions, and a hand that gathers shells on the beach, and an ear to listen to the old and the young. I've given them all that I could. A song, a smile, legs to dance, a gentle hand, and a singing heart. With what more could I bless them? These children, they are now angels. No one will bless them anymore. They will not be blessed more. Elohim, 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 God, God, God. If only you had blessed them with life. Okay, so if any of you want to share a brief thought about the massacre, brief thoughts, I would certainly welcome them now at this point. Anyone would like to offer? and if not, that there is no need. Okay. Okay. Merle?
I just want to say that all I want to do is hug my grandchildren. And when I watch them, because I often pick them up from school, and I watch all these kids walk out, innocent kids, I'm just grateful that they're walking out.
Thank you. Thank you. Donna?
I agree with her. I miss my grandchildren are 2,000 miles away. And I wrote a song in memory of the children that are angels. And it's so sad. I'm just rest in peace, angels.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. We're gonna go ahead. Eric Weiss properly says we need more mental health resources, make them affordable. Yes, among other things. Yes. Okay. I will be reading all of their names before Kaddish today, and then we will include them within Kaddish. Today, shift of mood is Siyum. Today is the day we l'sayem, we complete. Today is the day we complete the reading of the Book of Leviticus, and we are to have a special celebration because next week we get into the Book of Numbers and we will meet a talking donkey eventually. So that's a good thing to happen in the Book of Numbers. And from what I understand, that donkey is just waiting for us. So I'm going to turn to help Effie find his way to page 872, page 8. Yes, Effie, page 872 in the Plout, the end of Leviticus, chapter 27, verses 30 to 34. 27, 30 to 34 in the Plout, in the Women's Reform Judaism Commentary 778. And I have to shift to, what did I do? Yeah, page 872. I sometimes don't know where I am. Okay, does someone want to read the last four verses? Oh, let's do it together. We will complete the text together. 32. All tithes of the herd or flock, of all that passes under the shepherd's staff, every 10th one shall be holy to the eternal. I hope you're reading with me. One must not look out for good as against bad or make substitution for it. If one does make substitution for it, then it and its substitute shall both be holy. It cannot be redeemed. And now the last verse of the book of Leviticus, together. These are the commandments that the Eternal gave Moses for the Israelite people on Mount Sinai. And we say together, Chazak, Chazak, let us be strong, let us be strong, let us strengthen one another. Now, you remember the joke about the man who comes in to visit a synagogue he's never been before, and he noticed that the rabbi standing on the bima, when she turns around to face the ark, she approaches the ark, she bends down low, and then stands up before the ark. And the stranger asks, "What's the rabbi doing?" And the answer was, "Well, in our previous building, there was a chandelier." Okay, now, I am going to do a brief bracha over slivovitz. Slivovitz is that which is like the hanging chandelier. Someday we'll explain it to everybody, okay? So I'm going to drink from the hanging chandelier and say Borei Pri Ha'etz, because it is plum brandy coming from a tree. You may drink water, you may drink wine, you may drink grape juice, you may drink coffee, you may drink the dregs, who knows what. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei ha'etz. As I slowly go to sleep, this stuff is good. Then the other hanging chandelier, Cindy, the other hanging, oh, Cindy has it too. There are two hanging chandeliers. Okay, this is another story that is very complicated, but Cindy, I'm with you on that in memory, okay? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol bara l'chvodo. Okay, there we go. And I am going to reach into my own private bottle. This is disgusting, but this is my bottle. And this is herring. That's done. And we will do this for every seal. And someday there will be explanations. Okay. Now, first of all, how are you? Anyone have any things to share about family, about personal life, about, okay, Effie.
My granddaughter is coming to visit for a couple of days, and she's coming with my son's ex-wife. So that'll be nice to see her.
That's very good. You're hosting and entertaining, and
Yeah, they're staying here for 4 days
okay.
from Boulder, Colorado.
4 days is probably survivable. Okay, that's great. Okay, anyone else have anything else to share? Okay, I see. Okay, Merle.
Congratulations on the Facebook post from AE Pi with your picture.
How did
For
you
your-
get that?
I think because maybe from AE Pi, because you and Arnie are fraternity brothers.
Okay, we're
He saw it first, so that must be where it came from.
okay. So you must be my sister-in-law. Okay,
That could be
that deepens the relationship. That's very, very nice.
even better.
Yeah, they did a fairly nice job with that. The
I
picture.
thought they did a great job.
The picture that they posted was either taken last week or 15 years ago. I suspect it was 15 years ago. I wish I looked like that, but okay, that happens. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else have anything to share about life?
I
Donna?
have my hand up, Rabbi.
I said Donna?
Yes, sir. I just want to say you're a gift to all of us. You're such a joy to listen to. You and your wife and everyone on this Zoom. I just love all of you so much. You just make my Shabbat so special. I just want to say thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything else? Okay, we're going to go into calendar to mention that, oh, Eric, that is, now, did I buy the herring at Zabar's? No. Unfortunately, there's no Zabar's out here. I am not lonely when I attend the Torah class.
Right on.
That's great. Okay. Calendar, Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day is the 29th of May, and it should be a time of great celebration. It's going to be a time of conflict and killing and shooting and so forth, because members of the far right wing in Israel have decided that they're going to be marching with flags through the Arab quarter on Jerusalem Day. Okay, I have been frequently using the expression poking the bear in the eye. That just seems to be something I'm obsessed with recently. But boy, that is poking the bear in the eye. So that's May 29th. And we're going to have Member Knesset Gavir, who is so far to the right that he makes Genghis Khan look like a raving liberal. He is going to be going up onto the Temple Mount on Jerusalem Day and hoping to incite violence. So that's going to be going on. We look to May 29th. Jim, do we have what's up on the film world? You're muted,
Yeah,
I think. Okay.
not anymore. There'll be no discussion next week, the 4th. It's Shavuos, and there's other activities. But on the 11th, we will very likely see Life of Pi.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a fun film, but it is in a way profoundly religious and very Jewish, in that it questions the notion of God and what does it mean to people and what do you choose to believe in. It's very profound, yet it's a gorgeous, beautiful film. It was originally made for 3D in the theaters. It's almost 20 years old now and won lots of awards. It's just stunning, so humanistic. And if you like dogs or cats, you're going to weep at this one.
What do you mean dogs and cats? What about tigers?
Well, tigers are cats. It's a big, lovable, and it's really about forming relationships and what is, how do we come to mean something to each other and beyond mere survival, because survival isn't merely survival, it's living, and lots of lessons in it and lots of good stuff to discuss. So I hope to do that 2 weeks from tonight.
I never offer unsolicited recommendations. This is a great film. Okay, it really is. I loved it. Ray, did you see it too? Roy? Yeah.
Yeah, I have it. I own a copy, a DVD in the 3D.
Wow.
It's a fabulous film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for that. Cindy.
We're having an end of the year luncheon Wednesday for the Sisterhood Board, and Rabbi Shapiro is going to come, and just for everyone to have a chance to get to know him and him to get to know us. And then with the closing of the building, we're just trying to figure it out because Irmis is going to be very filled next year, so we can't meet there. So we're just in the figuring it out mode right now, but and Effie, the old scrapbooks will be there, and there'll probably be lovely pictures of Shuli if you could come by. And everybody knows if you have a Tree of Life leaf or a yurtzeit plaque, this is the time to let them know, and you could come pick them up because those are going to be changed.
Will they be replaced?
The yurtzeit board will be an electronic board, so the maintenance don't have to manually turn the bulbs on. And what I've heard, and I could be corrected, I wish Fern was here, the Tree of Life, the leaves and the tributes will no longer be available. There will be a donor board of the people who bought the leaves.
But the image of a tree is not going to be there.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Okay.
Wait, and Doris is going to have a baby any minute.
Do you want to explain that?
No, I don't.
Cindy, my understanding is the leaves are going to be like all other donations and on the consolidated donor board.
Right.
Yeah, that's what's
They're not going to be highlighted as Tree of Life.
Yeah.
Donations.
But unfortunately, the meaning of each leaf will not be public.
Right.
It'll just be somebody gave money. Like my kids gave us 2 leaves. Their names will be on the donor board, but not what they said on the leaf.
I understand. And okay, and thank you. And Doris, I don't know how to approach this. You're giving birth shortly?
Well, actually, let me just say this, Rabbi. I've been trying for 15 minutes to get on and I haven't been able to.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if I don't know if it's your fault. It just wasn't
It
coming.
ain't my fault.
No, not mine. Maybe it was my computer, but well, I'm not having the baby. My son's having the baby. My son's wife is having the baby.
Okay.
We're waiting for a boy baby, Noah Robert. We're waiting for him.
Any minute.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mazel
very soon. Thank
tov.
you. Thank you, Sue. I'll let you know. We're
Okay.
we're
Make
waiting.
sure we announce it here first, Doris. I mean, that's.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, last night, and this will be my last comment on that. Last night, the sanctuary at the, dare I say it, at the university campus. There, I said it.
Yeah.
The crowd, the place was packed.
Yep.
There were a bunch of past presidents. There were all kinds of people remembering, and it was a strange, it was lovely having Joel represent the congregation, if you will, and to stand up and to do a few comments. It was very, very nice, setting aside the Argentinian music. I love that too. But though many of you have stronger, longer, older associations with the building than I ever will have, I could hear ghosts. I could hear voices. I could reflect back on events that were celebrated or commemorated or whatever, the full range of human opportunity.
It was a beautiful evening, and it was great to see the synagogue. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but Doris, we did say, please, before you were able to break in, please raise the electronic hand.
I'm
But
sorry.
anyhow, please, no, finish your comment, please.
No, I just wanted to say it was just wonderful to see the chapel so filled up. The whole place was filled, and everybody had such a great time. And sorry,
No.
we're gonna miss that.
No, it was. And when I say ghosts, happy ghosts, good ghosts. Steve mentioned that, he's a past president, that there might have been a way to ask the past presidents to stand. I don't know. I had nothing to do with the program, but maybe that would have been nice. But nevertheless, a whole bunch of folks were there, and it was like, I went up to Donna and I hugged her, and that hadn't happened in a long time. That just happened in a long time. And then I saw Barbara, and I don't want to mention everyone's name, but Barbara was sitting directly behind me, and God, that felt good. Lots of things felt good. So thank you for that. And, we're going to move on. And sisterhood has to find a location, and there will be dislocation. And please don't tell anybody. During the dinner afterwards, I happened to bump into two of the audio specialists, the really key people designing the new sound system for the building. And I sat with them for a couple of minutes. And may I tell you, I even made a tiny contribution. So I feel like the whole building will reflect my involvement. So that's a good thing. It was the sound engineer suggested that there be a button on the floor so that clergy could turn mics off and on. And I said, every bar and bat mitzvah on the bima will step on that. He said, no, they won't. We'll just keep it off to the side. And I said, yes, they will. They will find it and they will step on it. And the button was dropped. Okay, Steve Miller? No.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Okay. What do I have here? Oh, Mara.
Well, actually, I wasn't going to comment on last night, although it was beautiful. I just wanted to remind you that we were going to mention the Shemitah opportunity.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Offer another minute, Mara. Go ahead.
Okay. Harvey and I had the pleasure of sitting in on a live stream service at Central Synagogue, and Rabbi Angela Bookdahl, her sermon was on the fact that this was a Shemitah year. And she noted that Central Synagogue was participating in an opportunity for their congregants that they had apparently reviewed and were using a nonprofit organization called RIP Medical Debt, which helps to retire medical debt for people who are in need. And so they have a campaign set up on their website where you can make donations. And the way it works is for every dollar that's donated, $100 of medical debt is retired for individuals across the country. And I can't explain this very well, but the organization goes out into the market and buys medical debt, similar to
mortgages that are
to mortgages.
Yeah.
And Harvey and I donated, and we just wanted to make people aware of the opportunity. Obviously, we can't personally endorse it, but the fact that Central Synagogue is asking people to donate, we assume they did their homework on the organization. And I can put the website in the chat.
Let me make a suggestion. I think it's great to make Shemitah alive in today's world, the sabbatical year, the retirement of debt, and so forth. If anyone here is interested in sharing in a chat conversation with Mara and me, please send me a note, and we will invite you into a conversation to see whether we can do anything with this. Okay? No commitment, no promise, but let's just have a conversation. If some of you are interested, I'll contact Central and find out, do due diligence, I guess is the best way to put it. I'll do due diligence to see if this is real. I assume it's real. And then we'll have a little conversation on Zoom. So if any of you are interested in making Shemitah real through the retirement of the medical debts of the poor, please just send me a note and see if you can spell Shemitah, SHMITTAH. That's all you have to write. Send me an email saying Shemitah, and then I'll put together a little group with Mara. We'll talk about it. Okay? That's super. Thank you very much. Now, okay, Donna, quick, and then we're moving to text.
I was typing, sorry. I just want to say that I appreciate the information about the charity. I just typed a message about offering to play piano to raise money for that. If we could do something, I don't want to get paid, never get paid. I want to help raise some money. So if you need my help, let me know.
Okay, anyone who sends me an email with Shemitah in it, that may be the first Shemitah flood of emails, then I'll contact you and we'll set something up together. Okay, now, we are finishing the Holiness Code. We are finishing the Holiness Code as we finish the Book of Leviticus. And it's rather interesting to notice that the last chapter of the Book of Leviticus ends twice. And that is somewhat strange. If you look, please, at page, now I'm just going to do the plout on this, but I'll read it out loud. Page 869, verse 46. 869, verse 46. And I'm going to read out loud. Please listen. These are the laws, rules, and instructions that the Eternal established through Moses on Mount Sinai with the Israelite people. Okay, got that? Memorized it? Good. Now I'm going to read Leviticus 27, verse 34. These are the commandments that the Eternal gave Moses for the Israelite people on Mount Sinai. Does anyone want to comment on those two verses? What do you see there? Steve?
I think this goes back to something we discussed last week, having to do with whether or not this really would have happened at Mount Sinai, given that we've come a long way from there.
Yeah, and according to rabbinic tradition, this actually is early, but comes in late. That this passage really belongs to the Sinai experience, not to the desert experience. Yes, but there's something else about those two verses. What about those two verses? They're kind of alike. So you have two endings to the book of Leviticus. You have Leviticus 26:46. These are the laws. And then you have Leviticus 27:34. These are the commandments. And what probably happened is that as the scribes were composing and putting together and assembling the book of Leviticus, they had a section that was, is it nice to say, kind of left over, and they needed to put it or wanted to put it into the book. So after Leviticus formally ended in 26:46, these are the laws, ended, then the next part is a totally separate item, and then it closes too. So you have a closure, an insertion, and another enclosure. It's just interesting to look at. I don't want to make more than that out of it, but it is interesting. One of the things that comes back to me over and over again is the conditional nature of the covenant. Folks, we live, and I got involved Friday at the Bo Shapiro was teaching Torah, and I spoke up, which I try not to do when some other rabbi is teaching. But Rabbi Shapiro brought in a quote which talked about, in Hebrew, Netzach Yisrael lo yishaker, the eternity of the Jewish people is no legend. It's real. We will live forever. And having not had lunch, I was out of control, and I raised my hand electronically, and I said, that is one of the most dangerous phrases in Jewish thought. And I have to tell you with joy that everybody jumped on me. It was a pleasure. And I was told that I was abandoning hope. I was giving up. And I said, no, what I'm trying to say is, if the Jewish people are waiting, depending upon God or the nature of the DNA of the universe to preserve the Jewish people, this is a dangerous philosophy. That the survival of the Jewish people is not guaranteed by the DNA of the universe or by divine will. It is only guaranteed by the ongoing commitment of people like you, like us, who fight for the future of Jewish identity, study, thought, law, practice, activity, and so forth. And the good news is I convinced no one. And so I was laughed off the screen, and I crawled away to have lunch. But the covenant in my eyes is conditional. Conditional. And that banging is, my grandchildren are in San Francisco, and I just got pictures of fog. So I am pleased to share that fact with you. The covenant, the brit, the relationship between the Jewish people, and they're still sending, the relationship between the Jewish people and God, the very existence of the Jewish people, in my eyes, is not guaranteed. It is conditional. We make it work, it works. Any comment on that? You can jump on the bandwagon and beat me up. And I yield. Steve?
As much as I mostly agree with you and would like to agree with you, my disagreement lies in the fact that there is and always has been anti-Semitism. And there will always be people who label a group of us Jews, no matter what we do, no matter what religion even we claim to practice, that there will be a people who are Jews as defined by others in the world, and I just don't see hatred entirely disappearing. And so, and in some ways, maybe that'll help us abide by our part of the covenant. But I do think that mitigates against, I mean, I don't want to say your view is optimistic because it imposes a burden, but I do think that there is this other side to it, which is other than self-definition.
Do you know the Yiddish expression, a zochenweh?
Yeah.
Who knows that? Who said yes? Who knows what zochenweh?
Laura said yes.
Doris said yes.
Okay, what does it mean? God forbid.
Amen.
I don't, as much as you were kind to say you'd like to agree with me, Steve, a zochenweh, if a foundational reason for Jews to continue to be Jews is the hatred of others, a zochenweh.
Well, I agree. That's what I was trying to say, but I think it's real.
Okay, I mean, you have to use the Yiddish to convey it. Zochenweh. And you have to go like this, a zochenweh. But then again, I've been liberated by the Slivovitz, and I am having a strange morning. I heard that same comment made Friday noon by Rabbi Shapiro. Okay? He said the exact same thing. And my visceral response was just not positive. It may be true, but I hate it. And God, I don't want people saying the Jewish people will survive because they will always hate us. Okay, I mean, we're really in the same place. You're saying it. I want to deny it. But I can't really. Okay.
I would love to have to never say that.
Yeah, I understand. I think that the survival of the Jewish people is based upon social justice and upon observing mitzvot and building community and feeling good together and studying Torah together. And yeah, Steve, there's a footnote. Anti-Semitism, footnote, okay? Okay, it's there. Now, when we get to verse 3, here we are on Leviticus 26, verse 3, page 865. 865. If you follow my laws and you follow my laws and faithfully observe my commandments, I will grant you rains in the season. being heavily under the influence of alcohol, I would like to suggest that the rabbis who write their commentaries on this text are not discovering new truths, but are implanting their truths in the ancient text. And this, again, if people weren't jumping on me for the other comment, this will get a lot of results. The Torah, in my eyes, is a vessel, a sacred vessel, into which over the past 2,500 years, our scholars and teachers and Amcha, the people, have placed their noblest visions. What I am saying is that it is not logical to assume that those noblest visions were always implicit in the text. We have talked before about the difference between exegesis and eisegesis. Exegesis is drawing out of the text. Eisegesis is placing into the text. Judaism has grown because of Torah as a sacred vessel capable of receiving the noblest of our teachings and finding in the text a way to connect it to the whole. But I am not, as one, able to say that those who originally wrote the text wrote it with those later eisegetical insertions in their minds. I'm going to stop for a second. Does any of this make sense to you? Can you find anything there that you can attach to? Because what I'm saying is radical. And by the way, what I'm saying connects to how we understand the Constitution of the United States of America too. When we think about original intent, we don't have a clue as to what the original intent was. Hey, hey, Jimmy Madison, hey, Tommy baby, what were your thoughts when you wrote this? No, we tell people what their thoughts were. We take other writings and we convince ourselves that this was the original intent. You know that the authors of the amendments to the Constitution intended that 18-year-olds could walk around and buy high velocity, multiple shot weapons. And we say that's true. And we don't admit that we're being eisegetical and not exegetical. In the same way, this is a favorite concern of mine. Cheeseburgers really are what the authors of the Torah had in mind to ban? I don't think so. I don't think so. But they are banned now. And now we have 5 people waving their hands, lots of hands up. Okay, what do I have here? Thank you. We have Donna, Jim, Mara, Eric, and Merle. We're going to go in that order. Okay.
Wait a minute. Me first? Okay, go Donna.
Okay. All right. I accept that. That's good. Okay, Jim.
I'm so glad you brought up the interpretation of our own Constitution. I want to point out that the strict constructionist or the originalist thinkers like Scalia and 5 of the 6 conservatives on the court today believe in this philosophy that we have to go by what the founding fathers meant when they wrote the Constitution. I want to point out that people like Scalia and Mike Pompeo are members of Opus Dei and are very observant Catholics and believe in the text, their own religious text, as being the received word of God. Apologies to Effie. So for them, it is an easy leap to say, well, the Bible's this way and we can treat the Constitution the same way, even though there's a clause in there that says the government shall make no recognition of religion. So they're not even seeing their own contradictions, but this is true of any fundamentalist philosophy and people who proclaim that their fundamentalism doesn't influence their social and political values or their legal values. Enough said, but thanks for bringing that up. It's very important to us today, this process of believing in the text as immutable.
Thank you. Mara.
Well, I think we have two different issues. When we speak about the Constitution and we speak about the Torah, because when we speak about Torah, we have the fundamental question of the difference between those who believe that the Torah was given divinely, that it was not written by people, whereas the Constitution, we don't have that issue. So for me, with Torah, it's a divinely inspired document that people have been struggling to write and to understand over the years. And my belief is that our growing understanding is an ability that was divinely given to us with the Torah. I think we can also look at the Constitution as a document that should grow in that way. That is the so-called divine inspiration of those who wrote the Constitution and created this country, was understood by the founders in one way, but their intentions potentially are, shall I say, more divinely inspired, and were intended to grow with the understanding of what the Constitution could be for us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Eric?
Okay, Justin. Okay. You have to read the Declaration in Independence before you read the Constitution, because it's a companion piece to the Declaration. Most of the stuff in the Constitution is derived from the Declaration.
Okay, Eric, thank you for that. Thank you for that warning. Merle?
I think I'm here.
Okay.
I think that I'm looking at the Constitution and Torah as to when they were written and who wrote them. That we don't have definite answers for the Torah, but I look at it. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, is Reform Judaism one of the few pieces of Judaism that allows you to interpret the Torah in today's life, that we get to, that we can discuss it like we do in so many of these classes, but also that we take it as to what's going on in our world now and interpret it in that way. Whereas with Constitution, I think that these things were written as rules, and that there are enough people who feel that they can't that they can't go against these rules, and this is their interpretation, and this is how it's going to be. And I think maybe Orthodox Judaism says the same thing about Torah.
Okay.
And I made a comment as well on Friday's class that I don't think about compromising in today's world. And I don't think that was well taken either. So you and I are in the same boat as far as that class was concerned.
Okay, let's meet later. We can compare scars over coffee. Yeah, it was a violent group, but it's okay. I mean, it's nice. I want to respond a little bit to this. And all right, Steve, you want to go first, but go ahead.
I just want to say that you have to be very careful because original intent, as used by these Supreme Court justices, is really a smokescreen. It is a result-driven excuse for what you want to do. And I'll give you an example. You can take the Second Amendment right to bear arms. Original intent, depending on who you talk to, can be, one, any American can own whatever weapon they want, whenever invented, whenever created. Or you could take the position that they knew muskets and, some rifles, the accuracy was pretty weak, and they intended those to be the types of weapons people could own. And that doesn't include AK-47s and Uzis and missile launchers. So none of this is set in stone as they would like you to believe. And I think the Constitution, as we view the Torah, was intended to be interpreted in terms of modern society. And we need to do that. I mean, otherwise, all men were created equal in the Declaration of Independence, like the Torah meant men. It didn't mean women, and it may have only meant white men. So you have to be very careful. Even the words don't necessarily mean at the time what they mean today in a different context.
Okay, thank you. I do read, and it's hard. There's good stuff going on in the chat. And Eric Weiss, I want to acknowledge your note. I want you to know that I read it, and I'm thrilled for you. Okay, I just need to say that. We have such an interesting challenge. The challenge of trying to bring individual religious values and perspectives into contact with political exigencies and running a ship or a country or a city or a people. Everyone is fighting that battle. I think that liberal Jews, liberals perhaps, liberal religious people, publicly admit that they're fighting that battle. How do we bring our attitudes, for example, about social justice to move away and less controversial? How do we deal with that? And with a government that is not responsive, and then Mara mentioned doing Shemitah and helping the indigents with medical debt. How do we do that? It is a constant, and may I say, worthy struggle for those who have value, personal values, to bring those values into the public space. We tend to assume that somebody like Scalia might be doing something wrong by reflecting the teachings of Opus Dei. But the fact of the matter is, from my perspective, Steve, from my perspective, not the fact, I believe, under the influence of alcohol, I believe that we are all trying to do that. Now, an Orthodox Jew and an Opus Dei Catholic don't have space for doubt. They have certainty. Some of us squishy liberals don't have that much certainty. We have values, we hold truths to be deeply significant, but we don't have that, God wants this certainty. But what Scalia does, what Orthodox Jews do in refusing to take a position regarding the possible setting aside of Roe v. Wade, the attitude of liberal Jews, who unfortunately use statements like Judaism embraces a woman's right to make choices as if that is a truth, which it is not. There is no such thing as Judaism embraces. Our liberal view of Judaism does embrace. All of us are, I'm delivering a sermon, geez. All of us are trying to find a way to make our values active in the public marketplace. That's a worthy struggle. I just wish to heck we could admit it. You know, I'm putting out my values. I believe them to be true. You're putting out your values. I want to acknowledge you believe them to be true. Now, how are we going to create a polity that can absorb my values and your values and keep the country strong? That's what we're fighting. But when some groups want to say your values are of no value and have no place in my world, that's when you have a society falling apart. I did not intend to deliver that sermon today. I'm going to take a couple of comments and then we're going to have to move to Kaddish. But I think this is very important, what we raised today. I think it's really important. Any comments?
Yes, you're brilliant, and I agree.
Okay, wait, Donna. Let me say Donna before you speak. Okay?
Yes,
Donna, please.
sorry, Rabbi. I was so excited listening to you because you're so bright. You're like a floodlight, and maybe people will wake up and get out of the dark and listen to what you're saying. This is so poignant to what's going on in the world today. Thank you for this study. Thank you for today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Steve?
I think where we've fallen apart in Congress, at least, is I can respect the values of people who think there should never be an abortion. The question is, to what extent are they going to be able to impose that value on me? And with both extremes in both parties, in the my way or the highway. If you don't spend 20 million on roads, I won't vote for 10. You have to have some compromise so that people can acknowledge each other's views and come up with something that will work. And that at present seems to be lost.
And I'm gonna close with this, Steve, agreeing with you that's what covenant is all about. It's getting a group of people to come together and to embrace core shared values, even as they differ in methodology and structure and implementation. And that's tough. And that is a challenge which I think America is losing today. Is losing. And it's very unsettling. It's very, very unsettling. Tamara read this, and I'm going to read it out loud and then go to Kaddish. As you know, I belong to the school that holds the Torah itself as such a conversation and debate, putting convictions forward in the marketplace. Yes. Yes. And it's how we engage in the marketplace. And sometimes, Steve, it's difficult because others want to lock us out of the marketplace. And that is where a country spirals downward. And that's we're talking about core understanding of what liberalism is all about. Liberalism politically, liberalism religiously, that's where it is. So thank you for that. This has been excellent. We're moving now to Kaddish. I mentioned the following names of children and teachers. Jackie Cazares, Eliana Garcia, both 9. 10-year-olds. Nevaya Alyssa Bravo, McKenna Lee Elrod, Jose Flores, Uzia Garcia, Amaroy Joe Garza, Xavier Lopez, Javi Carmela Yuvenis, Tess Marie Mata, Alithia Haven Ramirez, Annabelle Rodriguez, Meta Juliana Rodriguez, Alexandria Rubio, Leila Salazar, Hela Salguero, Eliana Torres, Rogelio Torres. Age 11, Miranda, Gail Mathis. Teachers, Irma Garcia, Eva Morales. And without having his name, I choose to include as one of the victims the husband of one of those teachers who died of a heart attack in response to the news of his wife's death. I think he should be included in the list of those killed by the assassin. And now I'm going to find my Kaddish list. And there's way too much going on here. Okay, I cannot find my Kaddish list. I don't know how that happened. Okay, I am going to go barefoot to see if I can get the Kaddish list up, and then I will be with you in a second. Please give me a second to fumble around. We're getting close. Okay, we are here. Mentioning the names of those who have passed away this past month: David Burstein, Edward Cohn, Robert Bob Feldman, Ronald Fishman, Ashley Yaffe, Frank Rosenblum, Ralph Silverman, Sonia Wallen, Joanne Wolf, Bert Zweig. Yahrzeits that occurred during the past week: Candace Abel, Henry Baker, Matthew Bergen, Marilyn Blank, Jonathan Blitz, Sarah Bloom, Suzanne Batansky, Bernard Brown Jr., Catherine Cardinale, Janice Catafo, Morton Cohen, Hensha Corper, Levi Corper, Rosalind Danziger, Musa David, Bertha Davidoff, Sally Dickman, Helen Doran, Sonia Eiglis, Jack Epstein, Erica Fallick, Joseph Feinstein, Cecilia Firestein, Regina Fisher, Sherma Frank, Bernard Friedman, Solomon Friedman, Sybil Frischling, Doris Frost, Jenny Gable, Norman Gallup, Samuel Gary, Dorothy Gidlow, Rochelle Ginsburg, Stephen Giaskal, Malcolm Glazer, Robert Edward Gordon, Samuel Goober, Leo Gutmann, Andy Harris, Andrea Lynn Hattenbach, Stanley Heisler, Leah Holes, Sam Horn, Lewis Jackson, Max Kay, Jeanette Kerner, Irving Kolpas, Samuel Corin, Mike Latchman, Ernest Leiser, Hy Leonard, Loretta Leonard, Gerald Levin, Seymour Levine, Gisela Lipsky, Victor Ludwig, Edith Marcus, Yvonne Nash, Blanche Nevitt, Jedediah Nirvana, Ben Nitzberg, Donald Optican, Robert Ozeran, Mitzi Pollack, Arthur Platt, Lois Rollman, Shirley Ross, Esther Schulman, Diane Schwartz, Israel Sinitsky, Sally Shadlin, Michael Shapiro, Morris Shapiro, Sarah Shapiro, Louis Sherman, Esther Shore, Nettie Shrelo, Naomi Scherwager, Cindy Siegel, Lawrence Silberkleit, Jenny Rose Stein, Ariane Stone, Bernard Taran, Izzy Title, Alvin Tramer, Sorrel Trope, Shirley Lee Touche, Susan Touche, Elsie Ullman, Sylvia Vicio, Murray Weingrod, Geraldine Woolworth, Melvin Wyckoff, Constance Zola. I apologize for names misspoken. If there are other names to be remembered, please speak their names aloud now or in your hearts.
I'd like to add Sue Sheridan, who was a longtime member. She died last week.
Thank you.
Leslie Shohan, my brother.
Thank you. We bear in mind also the names of all who died in defense of the United States. We mentioned those who died in defense of the state of Israel. We mentioned those who've died through countless acts of horrible violence and wars that were not necessary. And those who have no one to remember them, we bear them all in mind as we say, Yitgadal, V'yitkadash, Me'rabah,
Amen.
V'alma Divra Piruteh, V'amlich Malachuteh, V'chaye Chon, V'yomei Chon, V'chaye Dechol, Beit Yisrael, V'agala V'vizman Karev, V'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah, V'barach, V'alam Le'omei Omaya, Barach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei V'kudisha Barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yiru amen. Ei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Useh shalom v'imromav, hu ya'aseh, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May God who makes peace in the high places make peace in our hearts, make peace in our homes, make peace in the household of Israel,
Yes.
make peace in this country of ours, make peace among all the families and nations of earth, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen.
thank you for today.
Thank you.
Thank
Very,
you.
Rabbi.
very, very much.
Thank you as always.
Have a
Shabbat
great
shalom.
Shabbat, everybody.
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom,
Shabbat
everybody.
shalom.
Shabbat
Thank
shalom.
you.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Love.
Goodbye.
Bye. Have a wonderful weekend. Be in prayer. God bless everyone in Texas to try to get through this horrible, horrific ordeal. And I will do something about this. With God's help, shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Otherwise, get out of this. Oh, good, thank you.